What's going on, everyone? My name is Paul. I'm the founder of Third Party Profits. And in this video, I'm going to break down step by step how you can integrate into the software, how you can use the software, and how to ultimately make more money in your business. So if you're someone that wants to make more money with less time and less effort, you're in the right place. We have helped sellers source over $542 million through our platform in the past 7 days alone, a little bit over 6 million. And for myself, this is the exact system and process I used to be able to scale my business to over 8 figures in sales through the wholesale and brand direct model. So if you want to make more money in your business, you are in the right place. But without further ado, let's jump right into the tool. So the first thing that you're going to see when you jump on the platform is going to be the all tools page. This is simply just a navigation menu to allow you to sort through all of the different features that we have. And on the left-hand side, you're also going to see that there's a navigation menu that you can also scroll through. Now, the first step to actually integrating into the software is by going to your supplier accounts page and adding in any suppliers that have accepted you as wholesale customers. So maybe these are suppliers that you're actively purchasing from, or suppliers you haven't yet placed a purchase order with, but they've accepted you as a wholesale customer. You do not want to upload your supplier files into this specific section. This is only to create a wholesale account. So let's say Kehi, as an example, accepted you as a customer. You click on add new supplier, you type in their name, and you put in their website. Now, the reason why we want to do this is so then that way, when we are placing purchase orders, when we're restocking inventory, when we're sourcing products, the products will get tagged by the supplier. That way, throughout the entire ecosystem of the tool, it's following that specific vendor. So you'd hit save, and then it's going to create a new account. We already just have KE inside of the software. The next step is by going to the UPC scanner and uploading any supplier catalogs that you have access to. So if we're going to upload a file, we're going to click on this little up arrow here. So I have a UPC catalog from one of my suppliers. Now there's a few things that we want to check before we upload the file into any software, not just Third Party Profits. The first thing is if your supplier file has a bunch of spaces above, so the headers for the column are all the way down, they're not on row 1, then all you need to do is just delete these rows. Just hit edit and then delete after you highlight them. You want to make sure that the headers of the column are the row number 1 on the Excel file. You also want to make sure that it is an Excel file or a CSV file. We do not accept PDF. We do not accept pictures. It is only Excel or CSV. That being said, if you do have a PDF file, you can also use ChatGPT to help you transfer that file from a PDF to Excel, or there's other platforms out there. If you just look up on Google, like PDF to Excel, you'll be able to transfer that file as well. Now, from here, we're going to download the file. So file, download Excel. Now, once that file is downloaded, we're going to go back to the UPC scanner. We're just going to simply drag and drop that file into the tool. And now it's going to load in what is a preview. So up here is going to be essentially that Excel file. So we can see all the columns are matching here. If you don't see the preview up top, then that means that the headers of the spreadsheet are not correct, that there's rows above the headers. So now we know that this is accurate. We're going to try to auto map as a software as many columns as we can for you, but we're going to break down every single thing that we're asking for. That way it's nice and straightforward for the process of uploading the file into the software. So the first thing is selecting the supplier. So this is exactly where we added that supplier section in just a step before. We're going to tag the supplier for the file that we're integrating in. So let's say that this file is from 7 Star Savings. Now the next thing is going to be the UPC. We can see that it was auto mapped for us, but if it wasn't, we just want to look at the preview and say, okay, where's the UPC? We have case UPC, we have UPC. We're going to use the UPC column here and then just click on that UPC. The item number is going to be the internal code a supplier uses to know what item that you're trying to purchase, right? So we use UPCs as sellers to validate a product. Suppliers use their own item number to validate the product you're trying to purchase. So if you don't do this correctly, there is a chance that when you try to place the purchase order with the vendor, you're going to be requesting the wrong item. So this is very important. You just want to make sure that any type of column that says like vendor SKU, product ID, item number, etc., it's usually going to be like just like a little code that's a little bit different. You just want to click on that specific column. So this would be item number. The next thing is going to be the product description. So we can see the description of the product. You just select on that column here, and then unit cost. So we can see that the cost for us is going to be the net unit cost on this column. I would just select that specific thing. And then it's going to come up with also case pack. Case pack is simply just how many items are in a case, right? So if you're going to the grocery store and you're buying a case of water of 24, there's 24 bottles in every single case that you buy. That is the same thing as wholesale, is that these products are coming in cases. So you're buying in the intervals of cases. So you just want to make sure that the case pack is also correct. Now, if your supplier doesn't have an item number or a case pack or anything like that, you can also just put a value, right? So let's just theoretically say there isn't an item number. You just want to put NA. Like you can't figure out that column, you can just put NA. That will allow you to bypass that. Or if you don't have a description, you can also just do that same thing, NA. If you don't have a case pack column, you can also just put 1. That will autofill 1 on the entire file. That way you can bypass this if you don't have access to these specific headers, and then you can move on to the next process, which is going to be clicking on continue processing the file. Now on the right-hand side, you're going to see that it's going to start loading in. This might take a minute or two to load in. It actually took just a few seconds. And now the screen is going to refresh. Once it refreshes, we just want to click on the refresh button. This is going to start pulling in all these ASINs where now you can start sourcing through. Now we're going to see up here that it's actively loading in as well. And we're just going to wait until this is all loaded in properly into the tool. So now that we got this file integrated, if you have more supplier files, I would recommend to just continue to add more into the system. This will only help you find more profitable products, and we'll kind of dive into this into a second. Now, if you don't have as many suppliers as you'd like to be able to purchase from, I'd recommend to check out the supplier map. Now, this is a premium feature of our software. We have over 2,000 different wholesalers and distributors that you can get access to on an interactive map where you can filter down based on industry. So let's say you want to focus on grocery, you could focus on grocery. If you want to focus on specific states, you can just filter down by state. Now, I would always recommend to do your own due diligence when it comes to purchasing from any supplier, whether it's on Google, whether it's a directory, whether it's a trade show, whether it's a software. You want to make sure as a business owner, you're taking those proactive measures to just validate everything. You just want to operate the correct way. That being said, there's a lot of really great distributors on this list. I would also recommend to not limit yourself to a specific location. We are pulling in the headquarters of where the distributor is. So distributors could have multiple different warehouses. And since they have multiple different warehouses, that means that they could service your location. So maybe the distributor is popping up in New Jersey, but you live in California. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't look at them. I would still consider them. The way to interact with the map is all you got to do is click on specific areas. So let's say we want to look in San Francisco, and there's going to be distributors that pop up. Now, let's just say you find a company that you're interested in potentially purchasing from. You can click on add to leads. Now, what this will do is this will automatically transfer that supplier into the supplier lead section of the software. So this is for people that want to be able to get access to more suppliers for their business. As you transfer that lead, it will pull in their phone number or their email or both, allowing you to essentially build out a list of all these different distributors that you're thinking about contacting. In the near future, there's going to be sales scripts like phone scripts, emails, even brain direct related language to help you guys continue to land more wholesale accounts, but that is coming in the near future. In the meantime, you can still use the tool to help you follow up with these distributors. So let's say that you find a company, you want to contact them, you contact them today. You put in the date, and then let's say they come back and they say that right now they declined you. You want to follow up with them on December 1st. Now you can kind of create this format for your business. And then that way you're tracking all of these suppliers in the software to help you land more wholesale accounts to ultimately get access to more products. Now, if we jump back into the product research side of things, which will be the UPC scanner, this is one of the sourcing methods that we have on the tool. Now with UPC scanning, it's a great function to allow you to understand what products to focus on, what distributors are going to make you the most money, and ultimately just how to find better inventory for your business. Now, the first thing that we need to do is understand how to filter out unprofitable products first. So the filters that I like to use is going to be a profit per sale. So the first thing is the filter button is going to be right here. We're just going to click on that little filter button. So let's say greater than 2. Let's go with the profit margin that's greater than 10. Let's put a sales rank that's between 1 to 200,000. Let's also do an offer count, meaning that we want to find sellers that have more than, we want to find products that have more than 4 sellers on the listing. We want to make sure that Amazon hasn't been on the product for less than 60% of the time. So, like, these are all items where it's 0%, meaning that Amazon hasn't been on the listing. The buy box availability, this will allow us to focus on items that are not suppressed. So, let's say that we want to find items where 90% of the year there has been a buy box on the listing. That's what we're going to set. We can also do a profit per sale for the last 365 days, which means that we are looking at the historical profit, right? So maybe an item is profitable today, but historically it's not, like this item here. We can remove that. All we're going to do here is actually just put greater than 1 cent. Now, the reason why is because any item that's greater than a break even most likely has some form of opportunity for your business. Now, before we start sourcing through the software, I also want to go through and break down a few different settings that most users might want to set up for their sourcing platform. So the first thing is adding in shipping cost and adding in any additional prep costs. So all you need to do is click on preferences here, and then this is where you can go and embed these additional costs. Now, something I'd always recommend to do is make sure that the costs, the additional costs, are the same as your profit calculator. So if you're using something like SellerAmp, AZ Insight, RevSeller, or even our own Chrome extension when we do release it, you want to make sure that it's congruent, right? If your shipping cost per pound in third-party profits is 0, but in SellerAmp it's $1, then it's going to display different profits. Or if you have an additional prep cost that's not embedded in third-party profits, it's going to display a different profit. If you're ever confused about how we're getting to the profit that you're seeing on the screen, you can hover over the profit per sale here. This will break down exactly how we're getting to the net profit. That way you have a better understanding of the pricing that we're pulling from, as well as the fees, the cost of goods that's getting embedded, and then any additional costs in the system to get to a net profit. Now, also, if you're someone that doesn't like this software being so data heavy where there's a lot of columns, you can format the software to however you prefer. So everything on the left-hand side where it's blue means that it is visible on your screen right now. Below is going to be gray. That means that it's not visible. You can toggle a column to make it visible. So if I want to show the case pack of the product, I can just click on this little toggle, and now we're going to see it's going to turn blue. When I hit apply, that will make it visible on my screen. If you want to drag and drop to create your own layout of the software, you can simply just grab the name and just drop it to wherever you prefer, and that will reorganize the column layout of the tool. Now, you're also going to see these little pins on this side. I would be very careful with how you use these pins. So you're going to see here that it says in master folder, bundle quantity, group, and image, and these are all blue. The reason why it's blue is because as I scroll, these 4 columns are stuck on the screen. So what you're doing when you're clicking on this pin, the left or the right, you're telling the software what side you want to stick this column. So it's pinning it on the software. So if you're trying to reorganize the tool and you're just clicking all these pins, it's going to collapse and you're not going to be able to see the screen because you won't be able to scroll because it's stuck. So I just want you guys to be careful of that. The next thing is that when you do create a filter preset that you like or the layout of the software that you like, simply click on Save Preset and then just name the preset. That way, when you come into the software tomorrow, next week, next month, whatever the scenario is, you can go to load preset in the corner and then see all of these different presets in the software. Simply click on that preset and that will load you in to what you want it to be. If you don't save a preset, then it's going to go back to default the next time you log in because we have a default layout of the software. Now that we've kind of gone over this, now let's go into the process of actually sourcing through the tool. So the first thing that we're going to do is up top, it's going to say these revenue values, these cost of goods, these potential profits. So this isn't here to just blow smoke up your butt. This is here to provide you with direction. So I can click on this and this is going to tell me what suppliers that I've integrated into the software that have the highest opportunities of finding profitable products. So we can see that of the total value here, and as you continue to set filters, these numbers will change. You'll be able to see that KeHE makes up 34% of the $1.8 million. That means that there's a higher probability to find a product from KeHE than there is from CoreMark, just based on the filters that we have set. Most likely, that just means that our pricing with a supplier like CoreMark is just not good enough, or their catalog size is just simply small, that there isn't enough market share to find profitable products. So the whole point of this is to provide you with direction. Simply put, the larger the percentage is, the higher the probability that there is a profitable product from that supplier that you can be sourcing from. Now, you're also going to see in the tool, as you're adding more suppliers into the system, it's a system where you're able to source from every single supplier at the same time. Now, if you prefer to source by one supplier at a time, all you need to do is click on the supplier filter and then simply just click on that specific vendor. So let's say I want to focus on only KeHE, I can just hit apply, and now it's going to show me every single product from KeHE rather than every single supplier. If you want to source from multiple different suppliers, let's say KeHE, Ginny Beauty, and then Buy Low Beauty, I can toggle all those suppliers and then I can only source from them. So you kind of have that option as a seller to be able to pick who you want to source from. For the sake of the video, we're just going to do all. Now, on the software, we also have the ability, since we're integrated with your Amazon account, to show you what products that you are actively approved to sell, at least at the time that we pulled it. So I could filter down by approved to sell. This will now break down all of the items that when we checked, you were approved to sell directly with your account. If you're ever confused about the information that we're pulling, on the left-hand side, there's this little informational eye. You can just hover over that and you can see that we synced this product yesterday at 10:21. Unfortunately, Amazon's constantly changing, right? Like every single day, there's updates in the back end of their system. This is a day behind because Amazon physically limits us to how much we can pull every single minute. That what I can do is I can click on this little refresh button here and that will update this. And I can see that now this is updated at 10:22, 8:57 a.m., which is the time that I'm recording this right now. And I still am approved to sell this. There is times where products will go from approved to sell to approval required or even restricted. Unfortunately, that is just Amazon changing the algorithm for that specific brand or product. We're trying to relay the data to you as fast as possible, but this is a limiting thing that Amazon puts on every single software for this specific data point that we're grabbing. The next thing to help you guys make money immediately in your business is going to be one of my favorite things to do, which is as you're integrating more suppliers into the system, you're going to get a very clear idea of what suppliers are the most profitable. Now, one of my favorite features of the tool that will instantly add profit back to your business for every single item that you source is going to be this little arrow on the left-hand side next to save and add to PO. Now, the reason why it's so powerful is I can compare and contrast suppliers to see what suppliers have the best cost. So we can actually see that Value Wholesale has this at the best cost. But if you're not using third-party profits and if you're sourcing off of Buy Low Beauty, you have no way to compare and contrast to see that there is another supplier in your ecosystem that carries this product more profitably. So, the difference between these two suppliers is 14% in profit margin and what is that, 44% in ROI increase. So massive difference, increase in profit from $28 to $82 instantly back into your business. That pretty much pays for the subscription alone for this software. If you just do this multiple times every single day that you're sourcing, you're going to add more profit into your business without doing anything different besides sourcing from another place. With Wholesale, the way to really grow and scale your business is by looking at the big picture. You need 35 products that profit $300 a month to net 10 grand. Right now, we have 119,000 products that are actively in the system, which means that we need 35 out of 119 to build a $120,000 net profit business every single year. I believe that every single person watching this video is capable of doing that, but you need to feed this system to allow you to find better products for your business. The more suppliers that you have access to, the more suppliers that you integrate into this system, the easier it is to find profitable products for your business. Now, when you do find a profitable product, the next step is going to be clicking clicking on save and add to PO. Now, what this does is the same process of you transferring data into a Google Sheet. So rather than having to go and copy and paste information and go through all these different tabs, and it just takes away time from your business to find more profitable products, first step is just making sure that the bundle quantity is in fact accurate on the product. So if it's selling as a 4-pack, you would just want to change this to a 4-pack. For this item, it is actually a 1-pack, so we're going to keep it as a 1-pack. Then the next step is click on save and folder and add to working PO, and then you want to select the supplier that you're thinking about potentially buying from. We're going to put in the quantity of, let's say, 36 units. This is how much you're thinking about potentially purchasing. You're asking for a discount on the product, like let's say $290. And then you just want to hit submit. That will automatically transfer that product into the working purchase orders. So you can continue to source through the UPC scanner, where this is a leads list of every single product that you're thinking about potentially buying. You're not actively buying it from your supplier. You're just building out a leads list. That way you're reducing the step of having to transfer data into Google Sheet, where all of that information is going to be outdated. Tomorrow, the next day, a week from now, it is going to be where things change. The price will change. The profitability will change. You might get gated on the product. This is all getting pulled live from Amazon. So if you get gated on a product, you'll be able to see it here. If the profits change, you'll be able to see it here. So you don't have to go back and then redo all of your work. You're going to save a ton of time, and you're ultimately going to buy better inventory because you'll make sure that the products you're buying are actually still profitable. Now, the next tool that we're going to jump into is going to be the Storefront Stalker. The Storefront Stalker is one of my favorite tools in the software because other sellers have already done all the hard work. They found all the potential products that are profitable for your business too. So we have a supplier in here by the name of Kahi. I believe that there's a seller that I've seen redundantly pop up on listings that I'm sourcing through the UPC scanner that maybe is buying from Kahi. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into their storefront, and now I'm going to check some of these brands against my UPC scanner. So we have One With Nature as an example. And then we're just going to search that brand name. So One With Nature. And all we're trying to do is see if there's any matches with any of the suppliers we have access to. So we have access to One With Nature brand. Next product, Molly Suds. Now we see we have access to Molly Suds as well. Next thing is Heritage Store. Awesome. We also have access to Heritage. Next product, Tarani. So all we're trying to do is just validate whether or not this seller is potentially buying from the same distributor or a similar distributor as what we have access to. So far we see that the products that they're selling, we also have access to, or at least we have access to the brand. So now we see that these products are popping up. And now we're going to take this seller storefront. We're going to go into the storefront stalker. We're going to hit the plus button. We're just going to paste the URL of the seller. Now, what the tool is going to do is it's automatically going to pull in every single ASIN in that seller storefront and then tell us what suppliers that we have access to in our system that carry the products that they're selling. So we'll be able to filter down now by the supplier once this loads in. By is not empty. By doing is not empty, you're removing anything that's blank. And we can immediately see how many matches there are here. So rather than having to go line by line through the seller storefront, take the brand, search it on a supplier's website, try to find the product, see if it's profitable, then you have to see if you're even, able to sell it. You're reducing all of these steps and the time. So now I know all of the items that they're selling that I can also buy, and I can just filter through their entire storefront. So let's say profit per sale is greater than $2, a profit margin that's greater than 10%. I want to focus on items that I'm approved to sell and I also can submit an invoice for. I also want to focus on items that sell greater than, let's say, 50 times a month. And now immediately we're going to see all of these leads that are qualified because this seller has done all the hard work. And now I can just go through, I can start sourcing through product by product, see what makes sense for my business. And then from that point, I can add them into purchase orders. Now, here's just a pro tip as well. If you're seeing this much of a match here where almost every single product, and you can also click on the potential profits here, 95% of the matches are from Kahi. So what this is telling me is that there is a large chance that this seller is buying from Kahi because there's a lot of matches here. So if you're starting to source and you're struggling to still find profitable products, I wouldn't beat yourself up, right? You just found the source. You know that someone else is making it work. You just need better pricing. And the way to do that is by requesting for quote. So when you click on save and add to PO, click on save and folder and add to working PO, and then you go and you put in an ask price, right? So let's just say that your current margin is 10%. You really want to be at 15%. Put that ask price in. So let's say that's 675. We put the quantity of, let's say, 24 units. Obviously, be validating the product, make sure it's good, and then you hit submit. And then once again, that's going to transfer the product into the working purchase order. From that point, you're funneling more items into this specific area. The next thing is going to be brand research. So we just found a profitable product, which is going to be Lakewood. If I open up this product ASIN and I copy the brands, I can now take that brand, go into the brand research tab, and simply just search that brand. Now, the reason why that this is so powerful compared to just searching on Amazon itself is because on Amazon, you're only looking at the face value of what's being sold. Sellers are constantly stocking out on products, and ultimately what that's leading to is missing out on profitability for items that there's no competition on. So when you're doing this, you're searching Amazon's back end database. So everyone's looking at the surface of what you can be sourcing, when in reality, there's a whole nother world of other products to source from. And now what we can do is we can filter down each of these products. So let's say we want to focus on items with the sales rank between 1 to 200,000. We want to look at items that have an offer count that's greater than 4 sellers. We want to remove Amazon from the listing. We want to make sure that the buy box, there's been a buy box available for the past 30 days of at least 90%. Right now we can go through and we have all these leads that I know there's a chance that my supplier is going to carry. And because you found one profitable product under that brand, there's most likely going to be other products from that brand that are also profitable. So this right here will allow you to find more products and more leads in your business. Now, we also have a restocking page, which will allow you to add products into purchase orders seamlessly into the software. So if you don't have suppliers attached to your products, all you got to do is click on this little plus button. This will be able to help you add suppliers into the system. But if you do have suppliers attached, what you could do is simply filter down. So let's say less than 15 days with the profit per sale that's greater than $2 and a profit margin that's greater than 10%. And immediately we're going to see every single product in our business that we need to restock at this very moment. And now we can go and we can select all. We can click on add to working purchase order, and this would transfer every single product that you need to restock in a matter of minutes into the working purchase order section. When you actually want to go and purchase the products from your supplier, all you need to do is select the products that you want to buy. So let's say I want to place an order with KeHE. I can select these items here, and then I can just hit submit. This will allow me to now create a purchase order where I can click on this Excel file and then download the PO. Now, when you download the PO, it's going to ultimately look like this, where it has the product description. It will have the item code of the product, the UPC, how many pieces that you're looking to order, even if you're asking for better pricing. And then you want to take this file and then send it to your distributor from the software. Now, if you also want to be able to export the file of ASINs to then create a shipment outside of third-party profits, you can simply just click this middle Excel file here after viewing the purchase order. And then when you click on that button, it will create an Excel file that looks like this. That will have the ASIN, the title of the product, the quantity in which you're buying, the MSKU of the product, everything that you would need to go from third-party profits to then into a shipment creation software. Throughout the entire process of the software, you are building an ecosystem that works for you. The process of the software fundamentally is very, very simple. Your goal is to add as many suppliers into the tool as possible, because the more suppliers that you get access to, the easier it is to find products that are profitable, the easier it is to add products or add seller storefronts into the software, where it gives you more matches and ultimately allowing you to add more products into the working purchase order. Your number one goal in the working purchase order is to have a surplus of products. The reason why sellers see lower profit margins in their business is because they are placing purchase orders without knowing that there's other items in their business that are more profitable. Since everything is getting funneled into one specific page, whether you're sourcing through this UPC scanner, the storefront stalker, the restocking tool, the brand research, it all lands in the same place, which means that when it comes time to placing purchase orders, if you have $10,000 in cost of goods, but you have $5,000 to spend, you now know what is the best vehicle in your business to make the highest amount of profit and margin because you have clarity. Whereas a lot of sellers are currently operating in the dark in their business because they're using outdated Google Sheets without a system in the process because they want to operate the most cheap way possible. And because of that, they're getting cheap results. If you guys want to see more money in your business, you want to have more time, you want to have clarity and direction, this is the exact system and process that will allow you to grow a very successful Amazon wholesale business. It takes a little bit of time to get used to the tool, but once you get used to it, you'll never want to go back. You'll never want to use Google Sheets. You'll never want to change to any other software because this will be the pulse of your business. Every single thing that produces you income, you can do on third-party profits. Now, also just a pro tip of a few different tools that we have in the software that you might find beneficial to your business of reverse sourcing a supplier. So for every single product that you're sourcing, let's say you find an item and it's really not that profitable and you're just curious about like, I wonder where people are buying these products from. You can go and click on Find Supplier. This will help you find distributors of this specific brand. So you can continue to go down this rabbit hole to try to find other distributors that might be carrying this product or brand. Another thing too is going to be the manual title search button. So this will allow you to do a manual title search on Amazon to find multi-pack listings that other sellers are most likely missing. So the 6-packs, the 4-packs, the 5-packs. So you can find every single listing and discover every single product in your business. So from UPC scanning to storefront stalking to back-end brand research to front-end brand research, you can find every single product that'd be profitable on Amazon through third-party profits. And now also as well, any item that you never want to see in your business, we have a flagging system. We have green, yellow, and red. So if you never want to see a product again, let's say you're sourcing and you're like, I just don't want to see this item. It sucks. You can click on the filter button. You can click on, let's say, white, and this would only show you products that are now white or green. And then that way, now you're not sourcing items that wouldn't make sense for your business, right? Items that you already looked at essentially. Another thing too is the bundle quantity. So as you're sourcing, there might be products that show a profit of $30, but in reality, you look at the listing, the bundle quantity is incorrect. When you have a bundle quantity that's incorrect, you quickly just want to change it in the system. And that way it saves on your account forever. You never need to go back. You never need to change it again. The system will override Amazon's data that's being incorrect, that is displayed to any software, not just third-party profits. But in our system, when you make that change, we save it to your account. That way you never need to look at that item ever again. Now, if you need to pull out a supplier catalog from the system, what you can do is you can click on previous scans. You can look at all the different scans in the system. You can click the trash can and then hit continue. This will now remove the file from the software, and then you can just click on this little refresh button and that will actively pull it out. So this is kind of the main gist of the software. We're here to help you make as much money as possible in your Amazon wholesale business. There's a lot here because this will help you do everything in your business to make money. Every single thing on the tool is a revenue generating activity to ultimately increase profits and margins in your company. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you have any questions about the software, you need help, you're struggling to get integrated, you're struggling to upload files, you can text us at any time at 646-736-4296. If you also want to get in contact with our technical team, in the corner, there's this little question mark. You can go and contact us directly. We also have a free Discord community where you can join in here directly, where you can ask questions every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have a free call that's included with the subscription of the software where we'll go over wholesale related information, how to find suppliers, how to source on the tool, everything that you need. I want to see you win and succeed through this business. I want to see you win and grow and scale and increase your profits. That's exactly why I created this tool, and that's why I released it to the public. I want to see you make more money in your business with less time and less effort. So hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.